We begin right now with breaking news and the fiery crash of a Russian airliner. That is an Aeroflot jet that had just taken off from Moscow's main airport. The crew declared an emergency, reporting a fire on board. The plane was already in flames when the pilot set it down, and emergency vehicles immediately converged as it slid down the runway and came to a stop. Well, let's bring in Chris Brown right now. He's in Moscow with more on this breaking news. So at this point, Chris, what do we know about this crash?
Well, Russian state news agency TASS is reporting that 13 people lost their lives in that crash. For the last hour or so, that number has been varying. First, it was just one person, then 10, then 12. So that number may change again, but TASS is saying there are also people who are injured and others who are unaccounted for. We know that the plane took off on a regularly scheduled flight to Murmansk. It left Moscow at around 6 o'clock, or just around dinner time. There were thunderstorms in the area. I know, I saw them. And what TASS is reporting is that the plane was struck by lightning, and the pilot sent in a mayday and turned around and was back at the airport about 26 minutes after takeoff. It appears he did another maneuver in the middle, so this may have been, in fact, his second attempt to land. And as you saw from that very dramatic video, the plane was on fire on the runway, but it's unclear if, in fact, one of the engines was actually on fire before it landed or if the impact caused that fire. Again, you could see people jumping out of the two front emergency exits, down the chutes and onto the runway. In fact, some of them, it appeared to me, even still were carrying their cabin luggage as they were making a run for it as well. So very dramatic scenes. This is a regularly scheduled route. The aircraft is an SU. Is a Sukhoi SSJ100. It's been in service here for about 8 years or so. It is largely a Russian-made aircraft. Most of Aeroflot's fleet is in fact made up of Western-built aircraft from Boeing, for example, and Airbus. But this is one of the few that is not. Carries right around 100 people or so, and no real issues to speak of. It has been caught up in some sanctions discussion because some of the parts are made in Europe, and they've been trying to sell them, for example, to Iran, these aircraft, but really nothing worrying so far, at least in the past, from a safety point of view. So we'll have to wait and see, but you know, obviously 13 people is a terrible tragedy, terrible loss, but many of those people who were jumping out of those chutes, the flames looked like they were licking right at their heels. They're lucky to have gotten out at all.